We'll do it live.
Welcome to the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. For the G's, by the G's, que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo, a huevo. Doesn't matter where you from, Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere. Todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos, empurgamos. Soy la voz de LA1. Soy la voz de LA1. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas to all you LA Galaxy fans out there, wherever you may be. It is a huge week, and thank you so much for being back here with us on La Cuna Galaxiana. We appreciate it so much. Much love out there to all of you that have been listening to this show. And if you're a first-timer, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Today, we're going to be reacting to the LA Galaxy's 3-0 demolition of their oldest rival, the old enemy up north, the San Jose Earthquakes, who celebrated their 50th anniversary by taking a Galaxy L. The win, the Galaxy win leaves them tied for first place in the West and gives LA a 4-game winning streak, heading into perhaps the most significant El Trafico ever. We'll be previewing that match with J.R. Lebert, a.k.a. the Scarf from Defenders at the Bank. But before we do, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can find me online at El Escudero de LA, and you can find my written work at Extra Time Talk. And then, since I'm here, you know that the Ride or Die G and one and only homie is here as well. You know him as El Yerno Guapo en El Gitano Perdido. I know him as the homie who is going to be doing this pod with me today. Big one. Anandita Kirana, welcome. ¿Y cómo te sientes, papá?
Oh, man. So many emotions, Rob. Like you said, it's such a big week. I mean, let's start with the weekend first. Obviously, a great weekend, I think, for the both of us, right? In more than one way. The Galaxy made us happy. Some national teams made us happy. It was a pretty darn good weekend all around, I would say. And just to get that out of the way real quick, of course, you were in, what do they call it now? The University of Phoenix Stadium watching your beloved Ecuador.
No, it's the State Farm Stadium.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a okay.
I met Jake from State Farm there. He was a nice guy.
But you saw your beloved Ecuador progress through to the next round, and when you said you didn't, so that's a huge feat, and of course at the expense of the Mexican national team, which the hosts this year, but that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother pod. Just like Crespo said, Berhlater out. That's a whole nother pod for a whole nother day.
Hey, of course, that's what happens when you hire for nepotism. That's all I'm saying.
Facts, right? We talked about this last year in a pod. I remember this.
Don't get me angry all over again, man. Come on.
And of course, my beloved España got a little testy. Got a little nervy, but like I said, Rob, quality always peters out. And man, like I told you, Spain A and B team look absolutely fire. Those two kids on the wing are just impeccable. I hope Arteta give Neko a call, man. He's your fellow Vasco. Give him a call. But anyways, so we had good weekends, right? We had good weekends.
Scouting for the Arsenal right now.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. But we're here to talk LA Galaxy.
Did you see that the Arsenal is going to be at the Digs? I mean, Galaxy adjacent.
I saw that you forwarded me that, so that is interesting because I think we play. Is it against United, or who are we playing 3 days after? We're playing someone at SoFi, if I'm not mistaken.
United.
It's United, right? That's what I thought. But anyways, we're here to talk about our national teams or the Arsenal or United. We are here to talk about LA Galaxy. Right.
We can talk about some. Go United.
Yeah,
No,
hey,
you're right. We got a
it's a
lot
big
to
week.
get through today. We got a lot to get through. You're right. Keep me on task. Good job. Get through these housekeeping things, and then we can, break into that Cali Clasico demolition.
Yeah, really quick chat while I am doing the housekeeping. Go ahead and give us your one-word match reaction. I haven't even given mine yet, and that's just like how hype we've been and how off topic we've been. So that's the usual, right, for us. But guys, you can always follow, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana, and you can always find us on all your socials at Lacuna Galaxiana. Guys and gals, coming back to the YouTube channel, welcome back. And if this is your first time, like Robert says, welcome. And man, if you guys like what you're listening to, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and give us a sub. Try us out. You can always unsubscribe. That's okay. If you don't like us, it's all good. It's all good. It's all love. But if you want to help us out, go ahead and give us that sub. And if you like what you're listening to as well, we've got a VP of likes today, Crespo. Smash that like button, homies. There you go. Smash it up, guys. And of course, as Robert always says, put someone on if you want to go ahead and share this with your tios, your tias, your abuelitas, your abuelitas. It's all good, man. It's all love. And of course, Roberto, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches. Y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana. Got a lot to talk about today, man. And chat's already on fire. So, other than Berhlater out, chat is on fire.
Yous guys, we loves you. That's all I got to say about that. And yeah, let's get into some shout outs here. We're gonna keep them to a minimum today, guys, because we do have a lot to go through, and we also have a guest here helping us out for the preview. But yes, all those good things that Ananda said. Yes, help us out and subscribe. Help us out and watch this Gabriel Pecky video. I mean, you should just watch it because that man is going off and he deserves some love. But then also Anandita and Profe Alex, deserve some love as well. So go ahead and catch this video. They are hard at work on videos number 2 and 3, apparently, and 3, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So watch out for those. Those are on the way. Guys, we have a leak of the LA Galaxy third kit. So we have some new Galaxy merch coming out. Mi esposa se va a enojar conmigo, pero ¿qué vamos a hacer? It is what it is. So new Galaxy merch. Shout out to Total Galaxy for this leak here and Opa leak. But Total Galaxy brought it to our attention anyway. So first off, I'm digging it, Ananda. What do you think? Like initial impressions?
I mean, it's kind of similar. It's what I expected. By the way, Rob, very similar to our Lacuna Matata third kits, right? So, I mean, again, this is kind of what we kind of predicted here. But no, I mean, looks really good. Harkens back to one of the original retro kits from back in the day. So yeah, I mean, can't complain, right? The real question though is, am I going to break my wallet out for this one? And that's the real question, and that is still up for discussion with my VP of Finance at home, as you know.
Ooh, that's a must cop right there. We gotta go ahead and lobby the commission to release the funds for those expenditures and see what happens on those. But yeah, man, I really dig it. I like the accents on the split where the colors split. I mean, it's not just like a straight line. It's like the quasar. So it's an interesting little twist. I like that the old logo is on it as well. What I want to know is there going to be like a replica and an authentic version? Meaning, like, are there going to be stars anywhere on this? I mean, because mind you, like a big LA Galaxy thing is that the only team with 5 MLS stars. So are they going to be represented anywhere on this jersey?
That's a good point. Yep.
So yeah, anyway, but yeah, I really dig it. And if that wasn't enough, there are now LA Galaxy green Gazelles that have leaked as well. And there are these are the
old
third
one.
This is the first one right here, Ananda. So if you guys are watching this, you guys are checking this out. But if you guys are listening to this, of course, that first iteration of the Galaxy Gazelle was the blue and white. It was called the OG Gazelle. And then they released a very, very, very limited edition green version for friends and family right around the same time. I was actively lobbying people to give them my kidney so I can get these green ones, and it just did not happen. Very, very sad about that. But now everybody can have a green one because the 3rd edition and the new LA Galaxy Gazelles are going to match up with the leaked 3rd kit. And yeah, man, I'm super excited about this. I mean, it's going to be a really nice little combo. So I know you have the jersey and the shoes now, Ananda. But you gotta get one, and then you gotta get the other because they're matched. So I mean, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna pull the trigger on this?
Oh man, you know what? I have those green Sambas, man. So again, I don't know if my VP of Finance at home is gonna approve this, Rob. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I think the VP of Finance already said nope. But it looks like the shoes are in place still. So, Minister of Finance in the Corona household, we salute you. You are wise, and we know you will do the right thing. So anyway, I'm probably gonna have to pick up, at least the kicks, man. The kicks are fire, like.
Oh yeah, these are sorry guys. These are the Gazelles with the 3rd kit. There you go. Now they're up on screen.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yes.
like-
now they're on screen. Yes, the last ones were the second, or like the friends and family ones. So yes, we yeah, no, these are really, really cool, man. And check out like the yellow on the back. What do you call that? Like the back, like lip of the shoe. I don't know what you call that, but it's yellow and it's a nice contrast. So the red stripes are cool. Yes. So I need your Minister of Finance to lobby my Minister of Finance, and that way everybody wins. Yes, we need to get those shoes. Anyway, last call for G's Run LA. They're doing that 5K on July 6th at Absolution Brewing. Go ahead and sign up with G's Run LA. If you want to go ahead and get involved, I'm pretty sure there's a spot or 2 left. So go ahead and hit them up so you can go ahead and take part of this on July 6th. And then finally, finally, Riqui Puig is an all-star. Congratulations to Riqui Puig. Ananda, how do you say congratulations on being an all-star to Riqui Puig in Catalan?
Congratulations. And all I know is how to say congratulations. That's felicitats, but that's about it. Like, I don't know. Felicitats for being an all-star. Nice Smash Mouth reference, by the way, on that right. Hey, now you're an all-star. Hey, so there you go. That's a nice little reference there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure my wife might put it in the chat. As you guys can see that she's chatting it up in there. But yeah, I love the Smash Mouth reference. And you know what? I mean, well deserved, right? Riqui is the guy that gets the plaudits. Riqui is, whether we like it or not, I mean, he is the face of this. I mean, he's the most recognizable. I could have sworn I saw a post today by Matt Doyle. Oh, no, sorry, not Matt Doyle. Andrew Wiebe with 2 of his sons, and one of them had a Riqui shirt on. So again, he is a very popular character, Rob. And yeah, so again, congrats to Riqui. You know what, though? I wish that the other guys would get a little bit more of a shout. Right. I think Yamane has been fantastic this year. Decky's been a scoring machine right this year when no one thought he would be. But again, all the plaudits go to Riqui. So congratulations to him. And hopefully he plays 30 minutes and no more than 30 minutes. Por favor.
Who Riqui in the All-Star game, you mean?
Yeah, in the All-Star game. Just like
I'm
20 minutes and ice him.
I'm about that too. That's why they pick like 30 heads for the game, and still there was people that were snubbed. But yeah, guys, I mean, what I really liked about this as that the LA Galaxy Special Olympics Unified All-Stars were the ones who surprised Riqui with his announcement. And yes, Ananda's right. Like, they have a Smash Mouth reference there. I don't know if this kid is old enough to even know about Smash Mouth, but I like the game. I like it. So yes, Riqui is now a 2-time All-Star for the LA Galaxy. He was selected to that 2024 All-Star game to happen on Wednesday, July 24th at lower.com field in Columbus. He is the only Galaxy player. Really, I thought that Mark Delgado would at least get a nod from the Dawn, but I guess it was not to be. But Riqui was named via fan selection so far this year. He has 14 goal contributions, 6 goals and 8 assists in 17 matches played. He has some pretty impressive numbers on Onda, as we've seen. He's in the 99th percentile on a lot of things. He leads MLS this year in touches, passes attempted, passes completed, fouls suffered, and he ranks 7th in the league in distance covered. So yes, he is pretty instrumental to everything the Galaxy do, and that's why it was really, really great to see him come back against San Jose and do his thing. And Ananda, I don't believe we've given these one-word reactions yet, have we?
Oh, we have not. I'm gonna let you go first, Papa, because I
I went first last. I went first last time. That's you, son. That's you, son.
One word reaction, just quality, man. Just quality. Either quality or complete. Meaning that for me was the most complete performance now. That has become the most complete performance. And this is becoming a complete team, which we'll talk about later. So one of those.
Mine is party poopers, because these cats straight went into
that's 2 words, by the way. Just saying. No, got it.
Nah, it's a
hyphenated. It's hyphenated. It's hyphenated. Right?
These cats straight went into San Jose's 50th anniversary party and just said, "Nah, son, no one's having fun today. No one is having fun today. We are straight shutting this party down." And XPH, I agree with you. I miss my Graves on Trafico Radio as well. Him and El Profe Alex Ruiz brought something valuable to the community, and hopefully one day they will come back. If you guys don't know, Chris Tucker's back out there doing the Squadcast, so shout out to him. Hopefully he gets that going regular again as well.
Yeah, he's
so
great,
anyway,
man. He's great.
Yeah,
Absolutely
great.
No,
awesome takes. So we got a couple one-word reactions here. Big Heck, he has superior. XPH, executive producer Herb, says one-word reaction, surprised. Yeah, I am. I you know what? I was like, this is gonna be a trap game, and then it didn't happen, and I was
What'd I tell you?
Yeah, you're right. XPH, I want to know why you were surprised. Galaxy are handling business right now, but we want to know why. Go ahead and let us know in the chat. But they did handle business. They went out there, spelled this party for San Jose. They won their 4th match in a row, posted their 3rd consecutive shutout. Good job, defense, in this 3-0 road win over the San Jose Earthquakes at Stanford Stadium on Saturday, June 29th. I mean, this was a packed house, Ananda, and like I said, the Galaxy just went in there and nullified that crowd. This was the 3rd meeting between these two teams this year, and it was another Galaxy win. This is the first time the Galaxy have recorded 3 consecutive shutouts in league play since July of 2016, man. That just goes to show you
crazy stuff.
What this defense has been all about for the last 8 years. Anyway, we're gonna keep it going. Shout out to them, because this defense has now posted their 6th clean sheet of the season. So the defense is improving. That's what we want to see. Progression. We're always talking about it on this pod. We want to see this team progress and improve, and they're doing that. The numbers are there. I mean, it's just facts. The numbers are backing it. And here's the facts to back it. In the Galaxy's first 10 games to begin 2024, they allowed 17 goals. In their last 11 matches dating back to May 5th, they've allowed 10 goals, and they've posted 5 shutouts in that span. Come on, man. I mean, that's not only just like steady improvement, that's remarkable improvement in just a short amount of time.
And it coincides with the return of Jalen Neal. So there you go. Right?
There's a reason we be calling that man the truth. John McCarthy, he's also been one of the reasons. He made 6 saves in the win and posted his 3rd consecutive shutout. So shout out to John McCarthy. JP scored the game-winning goal, his 6th of the season. Dejan Jovalic scored an easy header off a Riqui rocket. Riqui rocket. Shot for his team-leading 12th goal of the year. Good job to the Bishop and Mauricio Cuevas scored his first MLS goal, an LA Galaxy goal, off the good dummy by Miguel Berry. And I believe it was also his mom's birthday, and he got the score on his mom's birthday in front of his family.
Saw that. Yep.
So yeah, man, that's awesome. I love seeing that kind of stuff. And I love the heads up play by Miguel Berry to dummy that. Awesome. So Los Angeles Galaxy is with that win. They are now unbeaten in their last 6 matches played on the road against San Jose, and in 10 all-time regular season matches played against San Jose at Sanford Stadium, the Galaxy improved to a 3-5-2 record. You were talking about Dayon surprising you this year. Well, he has 8 goal contributions in 9 career regular season matches played against San Jose. So San Jose is definitely not surprised. Like, he always does the business against them. Joseph Painsel's also been terrorizing the Earthquakes this year. 3 goals and 2 assists in 3 matches for him. And I love to see this as well. Finally, Emilio Garces. Hey, LA indeed. He made his LA Galaxy and MLS debut as a second half substitute in this match. So shout out to him. We were talking about the LA Galaxy needed to get like one of those comfortable wins for him to be able to come on and make his debut and just kind of like settle into a match. And it finally happened for him. Here plays Jalen Neal, one youngster for another, and he gets his LA Galaxy debut. Hopefully he does great things in this shirt. This now marks the 8th time this year the Galaxy have scored 3 or more goals in a single match. They hold a 7-0-1 record when they score 3 or more goals. And it marked the final match of the LA Galaxy's green secondary kit. I believe they call it the LA kit. So that's the last time we. Yep. Yeah. That one right there as well. But yeah, it's the last one, man. And people were kind of hating on that because they were like, well, they only use it like 19% of the time that it was available. But I'm still gonna go out and get the other kit, man. Like, don't try to convince me not. Anyway, so it was the last time in that kit, and the last time they wore that kit, I believe, was against San Jose as well, and they gold them up at that time as well. For their performances in this match, Riqui Puig made the MLS team of the match day. John McCarthy, Mickey Yamane, and Gabriel Pecky all featured on the bench for MLS team of the match day. So congratulations to them. Nando, what'd you think of this lineup?
Well, let me flash it on the screen there. Well, let's talk about what the changes were to begin with. Well, one is obviously we had Riqui Puig on the bench, which we'll talk about his performance in a little bit. Neal starts alongside Maya. Of course, Martin had that really nasty head injury, the clash with Chicho Arango. And of course, Garces made his debut and he was off the bench. So other than that, I would arguably say our strongest lineup. But again, I think our strongest lineup is with Riqui Puig and with Diego off the bench. I mean, spite me for it. Don't care. He is our most talented player. And I think, but again, it's such a nice weapon to have Diego off the bench, right? And that's, I mean, it's weird because like these past few years, like we've clamored to have this type of depth. And now that we have it, it's almost like, why are we bickering amongst each other? Like, guys, we have all this talent, right? Sitting off the bench, I can make games or change games. And on top of that, we have young talent that clearly can also change the game or make things happen. So I'm happy.
And rumored to be incoming talent as well.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that we didn't talk about,
That's
but there's potentially another incoming Japanese player to be part of Japan Jealous here. But we'll go ahead and talk about that on the next pod, guys. We're going to keep it moving here on this San Jose reaction because you know what? Greg put out what, was to use an Ananda term, a risk-averse strongest starting 11. And I say risk-averse strongest starting 11 because in this kind of match, do you really want to go starting Riqui Puig and maybe getting, only 40 minutes out of him? Right. And Greg didn't do that. He put out the lineup that won him, 3 straight, and they rewarded him with, 4 straight for the most part. So, we kind of already talked about the goals here, but Ananda, my favorite goal in this particular match was that first one, man, because we saw just how dangerous the Galaxy transition is. And not only that, but we saw the 2 DP wingers hook up for this one, and it was a thing of beauty, man. I mean, they're just like so bloody fast when they get out in transition. It's gorgeous. Do you have a favorite goal of the 3?
Oh, it was definitely that one because it was the one that turned the game for me. It was the one that set the tone for the game because we were under the cosh, surprisingly, Robin. In the first 30, 35, we scored the goal in like, minute 32, 33, something like that. And it's funny because I don't know if Gustavo is in the chat. So our buddy Gustavo that we play weekend footy with, right? He's a huge Vasco da Gama fan. He actually helped me quite a bit doing that PEC video. it's funny because he watched that video, he loved it, right? And then he said, by the way, you guys should, he sent me this video of Vasco da Gama like highlights, and it highlighted Peck starting breaks for Vasco da Gama. And this first goal was an exact mirror image of bro. Yes. And he's like, look out for this. And man, you know what? I'll probably retweet it. I'll find the video and I'll retweet it. I'll share it with you guys. But so that made me happy. I was like, yep, this is the player right here. And man, he is starting to become like our game-changing player, maybe even over Riqui Puig, who knows? But yeah, what an amazing goal. And that's our 8th counterattacking goal this year, Rob. This is, I think we're leading, saw a stat that is an MLS leading 8th counterattacking goal. So I mean, and it's going to be really interesting coming up into this preview, right? 2 amazingly counterattacking teams in the transition. Should be fun to watch, man.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be like watching 2 Ferraris go at it, man.
That's right.
But anyway, go ahead and break down some stats for us and see how the West was won.
Ooh, see how the West was won. I like it. But before that, I'm gonna flash this up because we always got to bring the good vibes. So there we go. There's the win, man. I love these pictures. Hopefully more to come. Hopefully one on Thursday as well. But so match stats, guys. I flashed it up on the screen. Pretty interesting, Rob. This is as I always said before, soccer sometimes can be an easy game, right? You take your chances. San Jose in this particular case. So let me go from the top here. They're in the blue for those guys that are looking, and LA Galaxy is in yellow. Again, for the audio listeners, I will narrate this as best as possible. But 2.27 XG for LA Galaxy, 1.87 for the Quakes, 18 total shots for the Quakes to our 14. Very even again, shots on target, 6 for the Quakes and 7 for us. But here's the big difference, Rob. 5 big chances for the San Jose Earthquakes, and they missed all 5 big chances. 3 big chances for the LA Galaxy, and we buried all of them. And that, my friends, is the name of the game.
Why you gotta hate on Preston like that?
Oh man. And you know what? Again, this is not like, this is, I would say, a fair criticism, but maybe that's probably why in the end we decided, Kuntz decided to move him on. He gets in such good positions, man, and he just doesn't bury them. I don't know for what.
Gotta put it away.
You just got to put it away, but he did not. And you know what? That is the name of the game, Rob. That's going to be the name of the game for El Trafico, too, by the way. Spoiler alert. But you put away your chances, and you can kill games off, and you can change games that are hanging in the balance. So that was it right there. That was that stat, the big chances and big chances missed. That's
well, one of the big stats is that I continue to like is and the streak continues is the Galaxy are unbeaten in Diego Fagundez' 12 starts. So Greg Vanney has perhaps a selection problem, but it's crazy because he has a selection problem, and we kind of talked about it a little bit on the last pod, but it's just obviously evident that this team is better with Riqui Puig. I mean, people were saying like, what does Greg do? The team looks so balanced, but I mean, it's just he just does wonderful things on the pitch, man. Plays at a different speed. He creates space for himself and his teammates. Even Greg says it. I mean, he says, and I quote, I think there shouldn't be too many comments on whether this team is better with or without Riqui. I think that's nonsense. He just proved today that his capacity and his quality makes our team great. We can be really good, but he helps to make our team great. Ananda, any comments on this one?
Yeah, I think I agree with Greg. I think he said pretty clearly that, any comment around this team not being as good with Riqui or this team being better without Riqui, I think we should just squash those. I mean, honestly, like the game was still in the balance at 1-0. When he came in, man, the speed of the game completely changed. He's the one guy on this team that can just change tempos of games and change controls of games like single-handedly, right? With his dribble, the way he receives the ball, the way he breaks through 2 or 3 lines of defense. I mean, he's that one guy. Again, the only thing that we have to watch out for, that he has to watch out for, is that he plays within the system. But we saw that in certain instances, and a lot of instances, he does play within the system. And man, he almost scored a absolute cracker of a goal that Dayon just picked up the pieces on and cleaned up the trash on it. But again, Riqui is that guy. He is an amazing tempo setter for this team. And I love to see him in that number 10 pocket, right, in that position, so that he doesn't have to go back so much and receive the ball and sort of disorganize his midfield. Again, that's something that's going to be really important for this weekend, or sorry, for this Thursday's match. Midfield organization. But yeah, let's this team's better with Riqui, man. Let's just not talk about it anymore.
What did you think about the way they managed this match?
I think they managed this match actually very, very well, Robert. To me, I said, I thought this was one of the most complete performances. But we've talked about it again. We always bring up this man, but C Miles, a great C Miles. So C Miles, wherever you're at, man. Shout out if you're listening.
Nothing but love for you.
But earlier on the season, we had trouble managing games. So what do I mean by that? Well, just look at you don't have to go far, Rob. Look at the last match against San Jose. Up 2-0, if I'm not mistaken. Then Eric Zabaleta comes in, he gets that red card and completely flips the game on its head, right? Maybe 3-0. I can't remember.
It was 3-1. It was 3-1.
Yeah, something like that. But it completely flips the game on its head, and we did not manage that game. That should have been an easy 4-1, 3-1, 4-1 route, right? Or just keep it at 3-1, manage it out. So now we're starting to see these in the last 3 games specifically. We're starting to see this team figure out when to speed the game up, when to slow it down, when to play it to each other like the same 2 guys back and forth like 9 times, and then hit it off a guy that's off the floor just to kill time, right? It's like little stuff like that. I even tweeted about that. That was hilarious. I think Cerrillo passed it off Riqui's back when he was on the floor. But this is just the confidence. This is just the confidence that this team is playing with. And part of that is starting to recognize and learn from their mistakes, I think, earlier on in the season, not managing these games well.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, I think you and I agree. They did get a little lucky here. Preston did miss a couple of those big chances. We will talk to JR here in a little bit and expand on this point, but the Galaxy cannot leave those chances against LAFC and expect them not to wind up in the back of the net. But yeah, we'll bring you guys JR here in a little bit, and in about 5 or 6 minutes to be exact, and that way we can go ahead and break down this big El Trafico match that's happening here. But Ananda, you wanted to go ahead and kind of expand and show some love to Greg about his development of these young players.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, just look at the last few games that we've had. Mo Cuevas coming in and getting his first MLS goal. Greg giving Tucker the start in RSL, a pretty important game, right? A tough game, giving you that 45 minutes and giving that sort of ability for Mark to come in and close out the game. You've seen Johnny Perez in his starts. I mean, against Chicago, he was good. And even the game before that, Johnny Perez has been really good. Julian Aude starting to develop. We've talked about it last pod or 2 pods ago. Starting to develop into a wonderful young player. Jalen Neal, coming off his injury, is starting to develop again to the status, the level that he was at before. So, Rob, this is really important now, looking at these young players, right, for the future longevity of the LA Galaxy. Remember in the past, in the old regime, we did not do a good job either developing. I mean, once in a while you have your Julian Araujo's, but that was more the exception rather than the norm, right? And so for the future of this team, I feel really, really strong now and really positive about that these players, like, they can be the future. Like Garces, for example, when Martin and Maya, I mean, they've got a lot of miles in theirs. They can't play for a lot of years. You've got guys in reserve that can come in and sort of preserve the quality level without having to dump so much salary and having to spend so much on transfer fees, right? So this is really important, man. And I think it's something we've all got to take note of as Galaxy fans.
And it's important because we see younger players like Jalen Neal stepping up and helping out this defense. I mean, you mentioned it at the top of the pod. Ever since he's come back, the defense has looked transformed. I believe it was we mentioned friend of the show, Mike Gray, aka Miggy Greaves, earlier, but he put out a stat that the Galaxy are undefeated in 7 matches this season when Jalen Neal starts, and they only concede 0.71 goals a game, and they've posted 4 shutouts with him. And of course, we all know that he's a pretty good passer of the ball. He's in the 99th percentile of center backs at the moment, and he's been a big reason that the Galaxy have been able to kind of manage these matches and defend these set pieces. So the Galaxy didn't need a set piece coach. It looks like all they needed was a little Jalen Neal to come back and sort the defense out, and that's what we call him, the truth. But guys, we spoke about Emilio Garces' debut. That was the Galaxy's moment of the match. For me, it was Riqui's return from injury. I mean, because he just makes the team look completely different. What about for you, Ananda?
I agree. I think it was Riqui's return. Like I said in my when we talked about Riqui, he changes the game, man, completely, and he flipped the game on its head. He propelled us to that 3-0, bumping that lead up from 1-0 to 3-0. I think he was absolutely amazing. Oh, I saw that. Robert, let's go. Pause, hold your horses. Stop the show. Let's go. There we go.
I
Gary.
jumped the gun. My bad.
Just for you, Gary. Just for you,
G-Cam, my
Gary.
bad, man. I jumped the gun. I messed it up, and that's why we are not a boy band. That's why we're a podcast and not a boy band. Just there, we can't get our choreography right. Yeah, man. Thank you for calling us on that, Gary Cambron. You know what, Ananda? We do have defending the badge nominees. We did find it pretty hard to do it. In fact, we debated on one pretty hard. I think the one we debated on was Mo Cuevas versus Diego Fagundez, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
In the end, Lacuna Galaxians and LA Galaxy fans, we ended up going with Mo Cuevas. I mean, the young lad scored his first career Galaxy and MLS goal. You always remember that first one. You got to give him love and props for that, and doing it on his mama's birthday, of course. And not only that, but he's been just a trooper, plugging in wherever Greg has needed him, playing those 20 minutes just to get the Galaxy through that phase of the match. I mean, that's what defending the badge is all about, and I'm super, super happy for him. And you could tell that he loved the moment. So congratulations to Mauricio Cuevas for your nomination. Joseph Paintsil, he had the game-winning goal. He had one chance created, 2 recoveries, 4 duels won, and he was fouled twice. Of course, you have the Bishop Dejan Jovalic. He was the trash man on this one. He mopped up that what would have been an incredible Riqui strike to score his goal. He had one chance created, 2 clearances, a recovery, and 2 duels won in this match. And then, of course, you have Riqui Puig himself, who completed 88% of his passes, won 3 of 5 duels, and was fouled twice in 35 minutes. And of course, he hit the crossbar to create Jovalic's goal. And he was, pretty much at the heart of the last 2 goals as well. Really quick, before we announce our winner, I just want to say thank you again to everyone in chat. Tocayo, I see you in there as well. Yes, I didn't say anything until now. We were just vibing with the homie Ananda, but I just wanted to make sure that I gave you a special shout out. It's good to see you in here, man. Ananda, who's your defending the badge winner?
It's not on that graphic, but it's Diego Fagundez, man. It's Diego Fagundez. It's the guy we debated. All I'm gonna say is this: I found myself in that match watching it, saying, "Damn, Diego, vamos, Diego, vamos, Diego!" Like, he was making the right play every single time. And I talk about tempo setters, Rob. I talk about Riqui being tempo setter. Diego is a tempo setter, but in a different type of way. He's so smart, man. He's just so smart. He knows where to be. He knows where to be on the wing. He knows when to pinch in. He knows when to play those 1-2s out of pressure. He makes the right decision. He makes the right decision almost every time. And he had a game high 4 chances created this match. And he's been that. You talk about Mark Delgado being a glue guy. Diego is that glue guy in the attack. I don't think he gets enough love. So for me, it's Diego Fagundez, man, all day.
Oh, okay. Well, I was also going to pick a guy that was probably not on there.
Would it be an ex-LAFC player now?
No, but it is somebody from the defense. I think Yamane had a quiet, exceptional game, and he continues to develop and be good and solid, and he's going to need that confidence going into this next match. So I'm throwing him a little love. So Mickey, if you're out there, you get this win from me, man. Because
hey, Mickey, you're so fine.
Ooh, you are so fine. But yeah, that's mine. But as always, it doesn't. Exactly. As always, it doesn't matter what we want. What matters is what you guys want. And after 92 million votes out there, all y'all have picked Joseph Paintsil, the unbreakable one, with 35% of the vote. And he is going to be instrumental in this next match. And Anandita, are we ready Should we
We
bring our
are
friend on?
man. We've yeah. Let's go. Let's go. This is
Okay.
this is the game right here. This is the game.
All right. Before we do this, guys,
Smurfs are the Smurfs.
we will be nice and we will be respectful because JR is a good guy. I will share an anecdote with you, and this is the reason. And this is the reason that I like this guy a lot, because when I interviewed him for a story a couple years ago, and there had been a couple of fights already between supporters groups, this guy told me one of the most wise things I've ever heard about football related fisticuffs between supporter groups. And he said, I don't understand. And this is verbatim. I don't remember the exact quote, but verbatim, he said, I don't understand why we're so bad to each other just because we wear a different piece of laundry. And yeah. I was really dwelling on that in the aftermath. And this cat's right. And I love the wisdom. And you know, whenever I get to speak to him, he's very, very level-headed in his analysis, very, very honest in his analysis, and he gets a lot of love from across the aisle from the fans of LAFC. So please welcome to the show the Scarf, JR Lebert, co-host of Defenders of the Bank and one of the most popular podcasts from the other side of the aisle. How you doing? Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. And we
Thanks,
appreciate
JR,
it.
for taking the time. Yep, we appreciate it.
Rob, that was one of the nicest intros I've ever had. It came from the other side. This is incredible. No, I do appreciate everything. Look, you guys know how I feel. There's a difference between defending the badge and just wanting to get home safely, right? And I think especially from the Rose Bowl, because I think it's going to be hard to find many people on both sides that love traveling to the Rose Bowl on the 4th of July. But look, we're all here. We're 13 miles away from each other. We've shared the city with each other now for 7 years, but we've shared the passion for football and for soccer in this city for much longer. So look, this is the most anticipated, in my opinion, non-MLS Cup playoff match that we have ever played, because for the first time in the 7 years, both teams are really, really good. And this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this match because, like you said, these playoff matches were more significant in the long run. But man, both LA clubs being good at the same time, it's great for soccer in this country. I mean, people always say, you know, like St. Louis is soccer city, this and that. I mean, Los Angeles is one of the most diverse hotbeds of soccer in the United States, and it's wonderful that this rivalry is going on. And I mean, it's just going to lead to more passion and more people loving the sport here in Los Angeles. But Jerry, you mentioned the Rose Bowl, and you're right. I'm not looking forward to traveling down there. Last year was kind of a cluster getting in, but something we talked about on the last show, and I want to get your take on this, are LAFC supporters really boycotting this match, or is that just kind of like a kind of misconception, or kind of just like a joke that got blown out of proportion?
Yeah, I think that's coming from sides other than the 3252 or LAFC supporters. I have not heard that nearly as much. I think the word boycott has been thrown around a little bit. I think a lot of people just have other 4th of July plans they might rather do with their family than sit in 2 hours of traffic to get there and 2 hours of traffic to come back. And look, I think that's the same on both sides of the aisle, right? I think it's a tough ask. This isn't a match that is convenient for a lot of reasons for a lot of Angelenos, right? Between family obligations, summer obligations, 4th of July, everything else. It's a rough spot to ask people to go to the Rose Bowl on the 4th of July. Now, if there's any reason to go, it's because of the two clubs that are playing. I will never miss a derby. I don't care where it is. I don't care where we're playing. I'm showing up in the building. I was there 3 rows away from Zlatan as he was warming up to come onto the pitch for the very first time. And I have been there at every other derby. And true LAFC supporters, they'll be there. True Galaxy supporters, they'll be there. I just don't know if it'll reach the 70,000 or 60,000 or maybe even 50,000 mark from what I'm hearing. I think it'll be maybe half the crowd that we got last year.
Well, last year that match, if you guys remember, set an MLS single match record. Really quick before we go any further, I love your hashtag. Berhlater out indeed. Ananda knows that I've gone off a couple times about man, I'm gonna keep it moving. Don't even get me started.
Nepotism.
I have more of an issue with Timothy Weah right now than I do Greg Berhalter, because I think Timothy Weah also cost Greg Berhalter his job as well. I think that is as foolish of a red card as you will ever see from a U.S. men's national team player. I think it's a joke. And oh, by the way, even if we are rolling in that match, we didn't score against Uruguay. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
If you don't score, you don't get to advance. So, look, you can say what you want to say about Berhalter, and I think Uruguay were just a much better team than us today for sure. But the fact that we only lost that game 1-0 is like my Italians only losing to Spain 1-0. It doesn't really tell the full story of that match. So it's a little different.
Well, let's hope that Matt Crocker makes the good decision. Do the right thing, Matt. Do the right thing. But let's bring it back to local
moving along to two better teams.
Let's bring it back to local matters. For on the LAFC side, are there any worries heading into this match? I mean, for the Galaxy, it is who starts, because Riqui Puig just came back and the team has looked really balanced. Do the Black and Gold have any similar worries or any kind of like hangups or like that at the moment?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you bring that up. I didn't know that the Riqui Puig issue was as big of a deal. I mean, he's one of the most fantastic players. I can't stand the guy, but he's one of the most fantastic players in Major League Soccer. He is the straw that tends to stir that drink for you guys. So much fun to watch. And you mentioned it, leading in so many different categories. He just does more with the ball and off the ball than almost any player in Major League Soccer. If you're asking me, two things that I worry about in this match. Number one has been a concern from me for the entire season since we've brought him back from Palmeiras. I have not seen the leadership on the pitch from Edward Atuesta that I had hoped for. He's already been suspended for yellow card accumulation. He picks up those silly yellows that you just don't need. You guys remember good old Kevin Cabral. I think what we saw in Colorado with Kevin Cabral and picking up those two silly yellows, I'm just as worried that in a match that tends to be as heated as any match that we will play this season, that Edward could get one of those early silly yellows. I think he needs to be on his best behavior. The other one is a little interesting, and I don't hear many people from the Black and Gold side of things talking about it. LAFC does not play well in large stadiums. Since 2020, we are 1-10-2. Yes, 1 win, 10 losses, 2 draws in large, I'm talking football or college football stadiums. We just don't play well in those. Obviously, last year, losing in the Rose Bowl to the Galaxy doesn't help that at all. I don't know what that means, because that's the Bob Bradley era, that's the Steve Cherundolo era, that's the Carlos Vela era, that's the Denny Bouanga era. But we don't play well in these large stadiums. We just traditionally have not. So if you're asking me, it's Edward Atuesta, maybe a little bit of leadership, a little bit of character issues, right here, the in-between, like 12 inches. That's where he's got the biggest issue. He's extremely talented. And then just LAFC playing in large stadiums, it's a weird reason or excuse, but I can only look at the numbers. And when the numbers tell me 1 win in 13 matches in large stadiums, we're talking Lumen Field, we're talking SoFi, we're talking the Rose Bowl, we're talking several of the other large stadiums. It's an odd number that just jumps out off at the page.
That is a really interesting stat,
that's
actually.
A funny one, yeah.
JR, I was going to save this one for a little bit later, but we do have a question from the chat from front of the show. Big Heck, he says, do you think I was going to phrase it like this, but he phrases it combination. Do you think the combination of Bouanga and Bogusz is better than Painso and Peck? I was going to phrase it in which set of wingers do you think is most dangerous? But
yeah, my only frustration with this match is we don't have Quique Olivera, right? We saw him come in actually for the injured player for Uruguay today and played very, very well, I thought, in his moments for Uruguay. So I think if you have our three-headed monster, if it's Matty Bogusz and then Quique Olivera and obviously Denny Bouanga, I'll put that trio up amongst any in Major League Soccer, and I know there are some good players out there in Miami as well. I think that the nice part is what has happened for you guys so far this season, and I think some of it's the Will Kuntz effect, is you're starting to see younger, better players develop a system under Greg Vanney, and it's not looking for the through ball to Chicharito every now and then or the over-the-top ball to Zlatan. You have much more of a system developing. And then what you have in that system is that those cream of the crop players, the Pecks and the Paintsels, and I mean, Dejan Joveljic just keeps scoring for you guys, no matter how many minutes you play him, no matter if he starts or not. I think the nice part is it feels like a very even matchup offensively, whereas it used to be, let's play an over-the-top ball for Zlatan, or let's look for chance after chance from Chicharito while he's whining about getting fouled on the ground when nobody was around him. So it's a much more even game in terms of the offensive pressure from both sides.
Where do you think this game is won or lost? For me, it's usually the midfield, because both sets of midfields are really good. But for you?
Yeah, for me, I'm actually going to throw something out that's a little different. I think a goalkeeper is going to decide this match. And I'll tell you why. I love John McCarthy, one of the nicest humans in our locker room last year, a player who we were obviously sad to see leave because of what he meant to our championship run. But I don't think to a supporter of LAFC, I think if you would have asked us Maxime Crepeau or John McCarthy or Hugo Lloris or John McCarthy, I think we're all clearly saying, and again, no offense to him, but I think we're saying the other guy in both of those equations. So I think when Galaxy signed McCarthy, we were like, oh, okay. I don't know that he's measurably better than any of the guys that you had back there last year, but I'm not worried about him doing some incredible things other than saving PKs. And by the way, since he saved those PKs, he has been just okay on saving PKs since. But I also think that Hugo Lloris hasn't quite been tested. McCarthy's made, 75 saves for you so far this year? Hugo Lloris only made 52. We haven't asked him to do a whole lot. Even looking back at our last match, only one shot on target. It was a great save that he made, a one-handed diving to his left stop to keep a 1-0 game 1-0. And what we've seen is that Hugo has made the big saves when we've needed him to. But I think if you can, and I think you guys have the players to make it muddy in the box on occasion. We don't have a Giorgio Chiellini, the likes of which we did last year. It's been Murillo and Aaron Long for most of the matches, but I love what Maxime Chanot does in the air. Even Eddie Segura is getting a little bit of run on the back line for us. But I think if you can make it muddy, Hugo tends to be a little flat-footed on occasion, and I think that could lead to a little bit of an issue for us. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice and say goalkeeper.
That's interesting, because that was going to be my next question for you. If there was any special significance in facing John McCarthy again.
I mean, look, when he decided to put on the Herbalife sash, he's persona non grata no matter what. Like, that's it, right? But the problem is he didn't do it in the way that Raheem Edwards did it, where Raheem was ready to call out people and take names and go down swinging, right? McCarthy has been nothing but wonderful. He got cheered when we played, when he played against us at home. So I think it's one of those things that he's such a good guy, but I don't think a lot of these players, other than dabbing him up before the match and maybe saying hello after the match, I don't think a lot of these players care that it's McCarthy or anybody else right now, strictly because I think they're on such a run. I mean, the last 9 MLS games, we're undefeated. We're rolling through the competition 8-0-1, the little hiccup in Austin, but it was also pouring and it was a weird weather game, whatever. But 8-0-1 in the last 9, I don't think we care as much who's in net for us as it is just trying to exert our system on whoever's on the other side.
Go ahead, Ananda.
Rob, I was going to say, if I can click on this thing, cheeky comment here from Raul, but I did want to bring this up because, JR, going to your point. So you brought up the goalkeepers. I'm going to go, I always like these winger battles, meaning winger against the defender on that side. So I'm going to throw this out to both of you guys. I think the last game, I really think that incident that Raul J is mentioning, I really think that hurt Miki Yamane's confidence on that right-hand side. And he's a guy that Greg Vanney's told us this year, he takes things very personally. I think it's part of his culture. He's, of course, from the J-League, Japanese. and he takes things a little bit too harshly. But recently, he has been a really, really good, really vital cog in that LA Galaxy defense for us. So I think the key match is going to be the key matches on both of the opposite wings, which is Ryan Hollingshead versus Gabriel Peck and Denny Bouanga versus Miki Yamane. Whoever gets the better of the other, I think, is going to be the unlock for each of the teams. Again, it's going to be one of those things where I feel like there's going to be 5 chances that won't go in, but then that one chance, the one time Denny Bouanga breaks through, that might be the unlock. Or the one time Gabriel Peck gets behind the back four, that's the one lock, or gets behind Hollingshead, who's been a beast, by the way, every time he plays us. That guy, he's something else. But yeah, I wanted to throw that out to you guys. What do you guys think about that?
Do we still have pro referees? Because if there's pro referees, there's going to be a disaster call at some point in this match, right? I think that's every single time, whether it's a handball late, whether it's a PK late, whatever it might be, as long as it's not the guy who refereed the U.S. men's national team match today, that's fine.
Oh, he was bad.
Oh, and not just bad, but wrong. Like, there's a difference between missing calls or letting players play too much. The yellow card in the play on, we're not doing it again. I know, but still, I think pro refereeing, my boy Kickaball Pod, who comes on ours as well, the ref is a big thing. No, but honestly, I think the real problem will be if you allow Denny Bouanga on an island with whomever, or if you allow Gabriel Peck on an island with whomever. That's the real problem. I think you do need to swing a second defender over, and it's about how the back line adjusts once you double on the outside so you can prevent either one of them from doing something 1v1.
Yeah. Greg brought up something the other day that I kind of found interesting. And
Vanney, not Berhalter, by the way. Just making that clear.
Right.
Gregorio Vanney brought up something that the other day that I thought was interesting. He said that LAFC is a wonderful transition team, and when they're out on the break, they're very, very hard to stop. However, he feels that they're a little bit more limited when that transition is able to be stopped from the other team, and they have to go into kind of like a set where they have to work the ball, and then they have to create their offense rather than get chances from the break. Opinions on this?
I think that used to be true up until 2 or 3 matches ago, and I'll tell you why. I think unlocking what a Kai Kamara brings to the offense has also unlocked what Jesus Murillo can bring to our offense. Now, if we're relying on Jesus Murillo to score goals for us in this match, we're in trouble. But if you look at our last match against Colorado, if you look at the last 2 matches before that, when Kai Kamara scored both the tying and the number 2 record holding goals for us, is that we are starting to use the aerials much better than we did at any point during the course of the season. Mainly because, look, before we had Kai Kamara, we hadn't had anybody other than like Mamadou Fall or Walker Zimmerman for quite some time. So it had been a while since we had somebody to go up and get the ball. But I think what we saw at least 4 times, twice each from Murillo and twice each from Kai Kamara, last match against Colorado, and then certainly against San Jose, with Kai Kamara scoring the header, is that we are now deadlier in those softball situations where maybe play has stopped. Maybe we're just looking to make a couple passes around, see what the next opening is. Well, now we also have another weapon. Whereas I think the last time when we played you all, we allowed you to pass. You guys completed over 600 passes, almost at 90%. But the XG was low, only 4 shots on target for the entire match. If we just sit back and allow you to pass and nothing stays progressive like it wasn't last match, I think that's the type of match that we want to play. I think we can win like we did last match. 38% possession. We'll be fine with that 38-40. I think it's a matter of, and it was so interesting, you guys talking about, is the team better with Riqui Puig or not? That blew my mind. I've been watching how they're playing, and it's hard for me to say that any version of this Galaxy team would be better without Riqui Puig on there. But I think if you look back at the last match, the biggest complaint from all the Galaxy supporters was we held Riqui Puig completely in check in that match, and it was everybody else who tended to create a little better than Puig did in that last match. So maybe you guys are onto something. Maybe the supporters are onto something with Riqui Puig maybe not starting. I know he didn't start last match for you guys either, but that's where I think it'll be really interesting to see how Galaxy varies up what they tried to do last match, because ask Greg Vanney if he can have 68% possession in every match. I think he's taking it. I just don't think anything happened with it the last time we played.
Yeah, that's what I call all that possession and for what?
Right.
And it's interesting you brought up Riqui, because one of the friends of our show, Alex Ruiz, El Profe, he put out a stat that said that in the last 2 El Trafico matches, Riqui Puig has had created no chances in both matches. You know, and you said it, you know, you're surprised that people would say that. I mean, I'm not one of them, but there are definitely people out there that don't show Riqui love and would much rather see the status quo for the last 3 games continue. So I don't think Anand is one of those either. But you know,
No.
it's one of those. The people out there would say that the team looks more balanced, and look what they're doing. You know, that the team is not giving up goals and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I mean, the big complaint though, JR, just so you know, for context, the big complaint has been we call it hero ball on this pod, and a lot of people call it hero ball as well. He's one of those guys that just tends to not make the simple pass. He always tries to over elaborate everything at certain moments of the game. I think there's just like certain game states he's not recognizing, and for that plays right into your guys' hands. I mean, Tillman and Ilya Sanchez are there to just mop things up. Like, it's almost like I said this last pod after the loss at BMO. I said, it's almost like you guys are just saying, all right, Riqui, come at us. We're going to have 3-4. We're going to have a wall of 3 or 4 and
play you physical as well.
And he dribbled into that wall every single time. So it's like those little things. I think recently, though, in the last game, he showed maybe a little bit more maturity and progression. It'll be interesting to see whether that will take place and whether that midfield will be better organized instead of Riqui going off and doing hero ball, quote unquote.
Guys, let's look at some numbers going into this match. JR, you mentioned that stat about big stadiums. Well, as you know, the Galaxy started their life at the Rose Bowl, and they hold a .715 win percentage there. So they actually do pretty well in that big stadium. You also did mention that the Galaxy did take the first Rose Bowl game 2-1. This will be the 23rd edition of El Trafico. In 22 meetings between these clubs, these games have averaged 4.3 goals per match. So there are a lot of goals in this one. The attacking lines in both these clubs are such that we should get some goals out of the next match as well. The Galaxy lead the all-time series 9-8-5, and they hold a 7-6-5 against 7-6-5 record against LAFC in league play. However, in the playoffs, they hold a 0-2-0 record against LAFC. Last year, in 4 meetings, the team split them 2-2, and the Galaxy scored 8, and they gave up 8. And 10 all-time home matches against LAFC, the Galaxy hold a 7-1-2 record. And in the first meeting of the year, which we just got done talking about, the Galaxy fell 2-1 to LAFC at BMO. And then, of course, the big storyline for everybody outside of Los Angeles, you know, that doesn't know these teams intimately, is that this is the battle of first place, right? So let's go ahead and look at these standings here through 21 matches. Galaxy have an 11-3-7 record. This is their best start under Greg Vanney. They're on 40 points. They are second in the Western Conference, tied on first with their rivals on Thursday, LAFC, who lead because they have a game in hand. They are now up to 4th in the Supporter Shield standings, 4 points behind Miami and averaging 1.9 points per game. LAFC has a 12-4-4 record. They are first in the West and third in the Supporter Shield on 40 points. They're averaging 2 points per game. That last win was a 3-0 against Colorado, unbeaten in 9 matches, like JR said. But this is the one that is kind of scaring me a little bit, JR, is the 5 shutouts in a row that you guys posted, and the obscene amount of shutout minutes that Hugo Lloris and that defense had for you guys. And that wasn't so far off. I mean, I think that was just like 3 games ago where you guys finally got scored on. And of course, the attacking prowess that everybody knows about. 13 goals scored in the last 4 games. Man, you spoke about Hugo Lloris and potentially the goalkeepers being the difference in this match. For you on the back line, who needs to be at their best to get this W?
I think it's Jesus Murillo. He needs to show some aerial supremacy. He needs to be mature about the way that he defends. He tends to maybe put a foot out on occasion or go to ground every now and then a little bit too much on occasion. So he's the one that I worry about a little bit. I think with Aaron Long, he's been vanilla in all the best ways. He just shows up in the right spots most of the time, makes all the right plays most of the time. I love the way Ryan Hollingshead and Sergi Palencia have been playing. I don't think Omar Campos gets the start in this match. I think that it will be Sergi and Ryan Hollingshead. So I think for me, it's Jesus Murillo. Murillo played incredibly well alongside Giorgio Chiellini last year. He's even scored in the MLS All-Star game. He's been a very, very good defender. I don't know that he's taken as big of a step back this season as some say. I think it's maybe more of a step laterally, and he just doesn't have Giorgio next to him anymore. So it seems a little different, but I think it would be Murillo. And by the way, you guys are on your own 3-game shutout streak riding into this, right? I don't think you guys have given up a goal in the last 3. So it's going to be fun. Look, it's like looking in the mirror. Both of these teams have scored 41 goals on the season. Both of these teams are undefeated at home. Both of these teams are sitting on 40 points. This is, again, there's so much to like about both sides in this matchup that I just can't wait to sit down and see how the different styles make the fight, right? Between what Greg Vanney does, and I'm shocked I hear more good chatter about Greg Vanney this season than I've ever heard before. All the Steve Cherundolo, the Dolo out people, they've been rendered silent with the way that we've played over the last 9, 10, 11 games for sure. It's really interesting to see both of these clubs riding the wave into this match. We've never had that before.
You see, Rob, it happens on the other side as well. Some of those Vanney outers,
I didn't know there was a Cherundolo out people. I mean, over here on this podcast anyway, we acknowledge the work that Greg Vanney has done this year, but there's still people out there that are like, nah, Vanney out. We still hate him, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys want from him. I mean, he's doing his job right now. They're like, well, he should have been fired. Well, he wasn't, and now he's doing the job. So, like, what do you want, right? So, but guys, I asked you at the top, if there was a quote unquote boycott. You never answered if you would be there. Will I be seeing you again this year?
100%. I'll be there. I don't miss a derby. Absolutely, I'll be there. And look, boycotting to me is silly only because it doesn't show the players' support. And if you support the badge, you support the club, you support the mission, look, in good times and bad, right? So as hard as it can be sometimes to want to make that trip, especially that particular one out to Pasadena, it's something that if my boys are playing, I'm going to be there for them. That's it.
I'm gonna agree with everything, with the caveat is that if Chris Klein exists, then boycotting is allowed.
Fair.
Yeah, if Chris Klein is in the equation, then you can boycott. But yeah, I mean, guys, one of the big criticisms of this match is that it's kind of difficult to get to, and for a working family that has to go and spend their day there and then go ahead and have to pay like $60 to park. That is just astronomical. But I mean,
but with all the tickets that are being given away by Carson every single day, I see, scan this QR code to get 4 free tickets. Or if you're a friend of a guy who once met a guy that went to a Galaxy game 5 years ago, here, scan this QR code and you get free tickets. Look, I know it's incumbent upon the home side to push their tickets, but at least if the family can budget for parking, there are plenty of different ways to get in for free from what I've seen on social media from everybody. That's for sure.
Soccer for all. I love it. And let's make it accessible for everyone.
Absolutely.
But yeah, one of the things that Ananda was talking to me about last pod for us was like all the festivities pregame. What is your favorite pregame festivity on El Trafico match day?
I mean, look, I'll tell you, being at BMO Stadium pre-match on Christmas Tree Lane, what I love is the way that it feels out there pre-match with all the different supporters groups. I mean, look, I've eaten some of the best food of my life. I've had some of the best and most drinks of my life out there with the supporters. There's something about
most
that. Oh yeah. there's something about the pre-match festivities out on Christmas Tree Lane, where right outside of BMO Stadium there, that large patch right before the Coliseum. And I think it was interesting last year, the way that it went out on the golf course there at the Rose Bowl. Security wasn't supposed to let some people in where they got to, and it got kind of disjointed. So we all couldn't be as together as we would have wanted to be. I know Galaxy supporters felt the same way, and that they were kind of interspersed with some LAFC supporters as well. But it's just that pre-match vibe. Look, it's part of the culture, right? Is to get together before the match, have some really good food, talk some smack if we're going to talk some smack. Look, we've had players wearing Galaxy kits come and join us under our tent, and I know you guys have welcomed in plenty of players wearing LAFC kits underneath some tents before matches as well. But look, for 90 minutes, we don't have to like each other. It's just before and after. It's really all about growing the game and about supporting your crest, right? So that's what we're here for.
Anandita Kirana, how about you tell us about some LA Galaxy team news? Who might the Galaxy be missing in this one?
Yeah, let me flash it up for both sides, actually. So for us, it's Gaston Brugman, who's still out with that knee injury, guys, and Johnny Perez, who, again, I think he's still a couple of weeks away, right, Rob? I don't know what the latest report is from Greg Vanney.
That is correct.
And then, of course, on the LAFC side, JR, you can attest or deny. Christian Olivera, of course, he played tonight as well. And then, big miss, as JR mentioned. And then Lorenzo de la Valle, who is also out with a knee injury. Any other notable misses there?
That should be it. The only little bit of depth piece that may have an issue, Luis Muller, who came up from LAFC2 and actually has looked okay at times this season up top. He's a big 23-year-old German kid. He probably won't get any run. He's had some hip issue over the last couple of matches, but I mean, he's maybe 4 and 5 down on the depth chart as a striker. So I think in terms of health, I mean, other than losing Kike Olivera for international duty, in terms of health, Brugman, I mean, the way that all of your other midfielders have played, right? He's not missed as much as he would be, but I think both teams are going in as fully strength as possible. So it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Kai Kamara started the last match for LAFC. Does he get the start again?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a lineup that will be probably the exact same going into the match against you guys at the Rose Bowl. I don't think anything changes from that. The way that everyone's been playing, it's been fine. So I don't think we have an issue at all.
Ananda, we did have some questions about the Galaxy lineup here. We've already shared with Jared that, you know, there's the Riqui conundrum. I personally think he gets to start. What about you?
Yeah, I think he's got to get the start, man. I mean, look, if rival fans and fans all across the league are saying he's the straw that serves the drink, right? Like what everyone says, I mean, he's got to start. Release
the Kraken, right?
I just think it's going to be interesting, though, tactically. You know, we've switched slight switch in the formation from a 4-3-3 to a true double pivot of 4-2-3-1. So I think, like I said, Riqui in that number 10 position, Rob, the less he's in that defensive zone trying to track back and win tackles back and trying to do defensive work, the more we can get him up the pitch in the attacking third, making those big chances. I think that's where we want him. And then that double pivot will then provide us balance. When we do get hit on the break, we'll have two guys and we'll be well organized on those counters. Again, as I've said before, two mobile DMs, not just two DMs, two very mobile DMs in Mark Delgado and Edwin Cerrillo. Cerrillo's been fantastic this year. What a great grab from Dallas, right, Rob, last year. One of the, as I said, our most improved player this year coming into that CVI. I said preseason, man, he looks amazing, and I think he's going to be player of the season, or I'm sorry, most improved player of the season. And I think that balance will help Riqui Puig a lot in that number 10 slot.
Julian Aure would like to enter the chat and say, I'm the most improved player for the Galaxy, who's been exceptional, and he's kind of been a worry. He's been keeping me up at night recently because he came off at the half for the Galaxy against San Jose. By the way,
what a matchup!
By the way,
matchup with Matty Bogusz. By the way, that matchup.
Y'all got Lucci fired. Y'all some naughty boys, man. Dang.
I mean, look, he scored 2. That wasn't enough to keep him around, I guess. I don't know. Like that's a bad San Jose team right now. I think they're just looking for an identity in any way they can. Hernan Lopez was not it. I don't think he's super talented, but he's just not a team first guy. I think that's why he came to MLS to try and be the star of the show, and it's just not working for him there. So I feel bad for Riqui, but not that bad.
Yeah, they poor team, but poor San Jose. I've never said that ever before in my life, but I got to say it now. But the last one here for you, Ananda. Does Jalen retain his spot? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, to fix it. I think that's our best center back partnership. They complement each other so well. Jalen just has the athleticism. He has a little bit more of the speed. Maya's that veteran head, right? And he's really good aerially as well. So that's another thing to watch too, I think, on set pieces. You know, our sometimes those deadlocks, if it's a tight game, I don't know if it's going to be a wide open game or a tight game. I can't really tell. I'll tell you my prediction, which we'll have in a second. But I think if it is a deadlock, if it is a tight game, set pieces will be a deciding factor. And Maya's really good on the set pieces.
Speaking of predictions, chat, start dropping those predictions in there. Of course, we will give you all of ours there at the end of the show. So, but start dropping yours in there. Ananda, help the chat come up with their predictions. Drop of those stats for us.
So, JR, I am the XG merchant on this pod. So I usually drop some key stats for all of us to kind of pick out from both teams. I mean, and the chat might be wondering, hey, Ananda, it's a little shortened version today. Well, we both know that both of these teams are exceptional offensively. LA Galaxy has been trending really, really well defensively. So I picked out a couple things I think guys and gals in the chat for us to notice, and maybe you guys too, and you guys can respond to this as well. Very interesting. So I want to focus on number one, touches in the opposition box. LAFC leads the league at 581. LA Galaxy is number 6 at 558. So the question for me there is going to be, how do both teams sort of eliminate that threat? How do both teams keep the opposition shots outside the box and eliminate that threat in and behind, or even in possession? Maybe there's some 1-2s and something comes off and they get that big chance. So look for that as well, guys. It's going to be really interesting sort of chess match between both Cherundolo and Greg Vanney. Successful tackles per match. So I think I saw It's Chris in the chat talk about the midfield battle. Rob, you mentioned it towards at the top of the show. LAFC is number 1, guys. Successful tackles per match at 12.4. LA Galaxy not
Getting
so much
at
8.7. Again, this just goes to two things. One is sort of the aggressive nature of LAFC's midfield and really their whole defense. But the other thing too is, guys, they've got some really, really good 1v1 defenders on the team. Ryan Hollingshead, I think, is up there in leading most successful tackles per match. There's a couple guys that average over 2 successful tackles per match. We really don't have that. So, Rob, the question for Greg Vanney and us.
Didn't you say Tillman as well?
Tillman's up there as well. He's almost a 2 tackles per match. But here's the thing, guys, for Greg Vanney, Rob, this is for us. You know, Greg Vanney's talked about, we're not a high pressure team, but we are a team that in certain moments of the game, certain game states, we want to win the ball high up the pitch, because then we'll have less distance to travel to get to goal. So the question is, when are going to be those moments in the game states, right, where Greg Vanney says, all right, let's pressure the ball, let's try to win it high, because you've seen us in transition. We are absolutely deadly in transition. We lead the league in counterattack goals. So that's one to watch for, I think, from the LA Galaxy side. And then this is the interesting one. So big chances missed. Rob, I said it on the last stat that we did, or the last review that we did with San Jose. This game's really easy. Take your chances, right? You bury your chances, defend on the other side. And that's the name of the game. LAFC, 41 big chances missed this season. That leads the league with Colorado. LA Galaxy at 35. And guys, both teams have 62 big chances this year. And I think, I want to say, JR, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of those big chances missed came from Denny Bouanga in the beginning of the season. He wasn't fit and firing. He was missing a lot of those big chances. I think it's starting
missed
to
a sitter in the first half. Trafico.
It's starting to even out a little bit more now. But again, which team, when they have the opportunity, when it is a tight game, which is the team that's going to finish their chances? Another stat to look at there as well. So, Rob, I mean, this is shaping to be a really, really good game, man. And hopefully some of those stats will help sort of encapsulate for the chat as well. You know, look for those certain things, guys. I'm interested to see that second stat, though, man. Like, when do we decide to put pressure on LAFC, because we know how dangerous they are on the counterattack?
We've spoken about, obviously, Denny Bouanga. The man has been going off this year, 13 goals, 8 assists. We've spoken about Matty Bogusz as well. I think that he got snubbed for the All-Star game personally, and then also for Poland, surprisingly, 12 goals, 4 assists. Everyone knows that these guys are doing it right now. I mean, this will be the focus offensively, but where's your X factor, JR? Who's
Yeah.
the X factor for LAFC?
Yeah, for me, it's going to have to be Timothy Tillman. I think what we saw at the beginning of the season, you ask any LAFC supporter, first 10, 11 matches of the year, Timothy Tillman was our unquestioned MVP. He was involved on offense. He was helping out on the defensive end of things. He was really everywhere. And then with the emergence of the combination play that we've seen between Bouanga and Bogusz, Tillman hasn't needed to be as engaged offensively. And I think maybe that's hurt his play overall this season because he's kind of come off. And I also think it hurt out of all of the guys that were picked for Copa America. The only player cut was when Josh Sargent got healthy right at the end. Timothy Tillman was the only player released from camp. So he kind of came back, maybe a little bit of chip on his shoulder. What we've seen him do over the last couple matches, playing much better. So I think what we're going to need to see is maybe Tillman making one of those connective passes that we haven't seen him make as much. I thought last match was Edward Atuesta's calmest game, was Ilya Sanchez's most effective game offensively. So that leaves Timothy Tillman as the third man in that midfield that really needs to produce something for us and has the quality to do so. So it'll be interesting to see how he is able to balance having to defend against your quality midfield and being a part of the offensive structure.
You know what, Ananda? That's actually who I had singled out as well. He was fantastic in the first El Trafico. Didn't he score in that one as well?
Score the first one.
Did.
Yeah, someone said it in
Yeah.
chat. Yep.
Yeah, he scored the first one. 4 goals, 2 assists, and very, very high energy. I mean, this again for me, this game is won and lost in midfield for both clubs. JR, fill in the blank here. All right. If LAFC does blank, they'll win this match.
If we execute, I think we know what we want to do in this match. I think it'll be interesting to see if Greg Vanney decides to, again, possess the ball almost 70% of the time and come at us that way. I think if that happens, we've already kind of shown how we play in that. But I think if we execute, now that also means set piece defense. That means attacking it while running the right channels, while countering at the right times. But I think, honestly, it comes down to, and Ananda, you've said it a couple of times too, it's going to be the team that executes in those minute details, right? These are two clubs that, I mean,
fine margins,
looking in a mirror, right? And so we're razor thin on the edges. So I think if LAFC is able to execute, and that means as much defending set pieces as it is creating chances from them, because you guys do create, I think it's 70 more free kicks on the season, even though we pretty much have the same amount of corners. It's the free kicks that can be a little bit more of an issue. You guys are averaging 2 or 3 more a game than we are this season. If we can continue to defend those well over the course of 90 minutes, I think we'll be fine, but it's all about the execution.
Yeah, I agree.
Flip side of that one, who are you most afraid of on the Galaxy besides Riqui Puig? I mean, you called him the straw. Shout out Matt Pollard as well, who once upon a time dropped that on us as well. But besides him, because it's one of those things that people know that Ricky's gonna show up and play us hard out, maybe play hero ball to our detriment. But who else are you wary of?
I want to say Dejan Joveljic, but he scored 4 goals against us, and of all of your players that have scored against us, he's got the most. I think there've only been 3 between Dejan with 4 and Riqui Puig with 2. But it's the player in the middle. I'm so upset that you guys have Diego Fagundez because I just love watching him as a player. He's been in the league since he was 15 years old, getting actual real minutes for the New England Revolution. And he's still only 28, 29, something like that.
Yeah,
and he's
exactly just turned 29.
Yeah, he's like a 14, 15-year veteran in this league. He's the type of player that can change things in a moment for a club, because I don't think he's at Darlington Nagbe's level, but he's like a Darlington Nagbe level player in Major League Soccer, in that he can be calm in situations where other players aren't, and he can push the tempo when other players might not see a reason to push. I can't like anybody that's wearing the Herbalife sash, but if I had to, Diego Fagundez is a really respected player in my eyes and just does all the right little things time and time again. I think getting out of Austin and getting to you guys was a big thing for him, because obviously a lot closer to home and wanting to be more connected with the city. I think that's that's something that he really looked forward to. So I think for me, it's Fagundez.
Well, guys, we're coming up to our game predictions here, but before we hit them up, Ananda is going to drop some betting odds for us. If you do that kind of thing, remember, all bet responsibly.
Yes, please. So this is per DraftKings, the top one there. So Galaxy is at a plus 185. LAFC is at a plus 115. So that's about a 34% chance for the home team and a 45% chance of the win for the away team, which is kind of interesting, right? Again, this is this is a home game, but obviously it's a little bit more of a neutral ground. But it is the historic home of the LA Galaxy. But Rob, just like we saw last game, the bookies are giving the quote unquote road team here a little bit of the advantage. And I think it's interesting. I think it's going to be interesting. I think the draw is a pretty, let me go back to that. The draw is plus 265. So it's a pretty low percentage, I would say, in the low 20, something like that. Very interesting. So again, guys, bet responsibly, please.
Yes, definitely. I think Jared, you hit on it perfectly. These X factors, these fine margins, these razor edges are going to decide this match. People like Diego Fagundez or Timothy Tillman are going to be the people that at the end of the day might not score the goal that wins, but puts in the tackle that leads to the ball that scores the goal. And it'll be wonderful to see the attacking philosophies of both these clubs, just how they're going to get down, or if both teams come out and say, you know what, our priority is to stop the other team the other day and to get that clean sheet. It'll be either a really high scoring affair or one of these grudge matches that ends 1-0 or perhaps even a 0-0. We have a couple people already in the chat who called a tie. But let's get to it. Do you want to hit us up first, JR?
Sure. MLS After Dark at its finest. I think that's what we are going to see in this match. These matches tend not to disappoint from an offensive standpoint, and I don't think this one's going to disappoint either. It was as good as both clubs have been in terms of shutout streaks and not giving up goals. I mean, we've given up the fewest goals, tied for the fewest in the Western Conference, but you guys aren't far behind, 27 goals, even though you guys have played one more match. It's still, again, the margins are thin. But I think that you put these two teams, I don't care if we're playing at Alondra Park down the street from where I live or in the Rose Bowl or at either one of our stadiums, I think they bring their shooting boots and we're ready to play. So I think we're going to see a high-scoring affair. I think that we could see one team get to 4, and I actually think this game is going to end 4-2. None of the people in the chat are going to like me, and I'm on a Galaxy podcast, so I wasn't expecting any of that. But I certainly do think it's going to end with a high-scoring affair. I'm going to go 4-2 LAFC for the simple fact is I think we score first, and it tends to open up the game much more than maybe you guys would want to do at the start. And once we can get teams opened up, like we saw against San Jose, like we saw against Colorado, I think we play out on the front foot better than any other club in Major League Soccer. So I think that'll be the litmus test. If we can get that one early, it's going to be pretty difficult, I think, to get back around on the other side. But that's the crest I'm wearing, so I couldn't say anything other. I think it is going to be 4-2.
Well, JR, calling back to that 4-2 Galaxy loss in the playoffs from a couple years back, calling it back, calling it into existence. However, we would be remiss if we didn't bring our own points of view. Ananda, hit him up. What do you got for a prediction?
Yeah, I don't know if the Galaxy fans are going to like me either, but I'm actually going to go for a draw. So I'm going to go for like a 2-2, maybe even a 3-3. I think there are going to be goals in this game, Rob. I'm going to go back to your stat. This is always a high-scoring affair because there's always a lot of emotion riding into this game from both sets of fans, and it always seeps in the players whether they want to admit it or not. But interestingly, I think, and I don't know why I feel this, Rob, but maybe you have a little more insight from the presser with Vanney this week, but I have a feeling that Greg Vanney wants to go in this game not to lose. And so with that in mind, I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a game state. It's going to be like 1-1 or 2-2. And I think we're going to shut it down. And, I've been talking about this idea of us managing games this season, going in there with a certain objective, whether it's to see a game out 2-0, 3-0 and prevent the comeback, or maybe in this situation where we realize, you know what, there's still a really long way to go in the season. We've got Lee's Cup to deal with. We got the 10-game stretch that Vanney always talks about. And I think he's going to say, all right, guys, last 20 minutes. I know there's a lot of emotion, but I'm looking at bigger picture here. I'm looking to get a top seed in the West so that we go into the playoffs and we don't, injure anyone or prevent any long-term injuries. You know, my thing, Robert, with Greg's been risk averse this year. And I think he's going to be risk averse when it comes to this game as well. It's going to be a stalemate. And then he's going to say, you know what, I'm going to just shut it down. I'm going to keep this a stalemate and let's get out of here with a point and move on with the season. So I think it's going to be about a 2-2 draw, I think.
I agree on the draw. I was calling a 3-3 though, just like XPH. And Jared's point of LAFC scoring first, I think that's going to happen. I think it'll end up 3-3 with a late Galaxy goal. And everybody gets sent off with good vibes and fireworks and stuff like that. But your comment on risk adverse is pretty much my line of thinking on that as well. I mean, you're looking towards the weekend as well.
That's right. Sunday game.
I remember.
Yep.
I remember Greg letting me know last year for one of these matches that the title wasn't won and lost on a regular match, the regular season match. It's big because of where the teams are, but let's face it. I mean, if the Galaxy wins, it doesn't mean they won MLS Cup. LAFC wins, it doesn't mean they won a MLS Cup. Tremendous bragging rights for sure. But I think Greg is going to approach it just like you said, Ananda, risk adverse, going to try to shut things down if it is in fact a tie. I think he's going to have something to think about if for whatever reason the Galaxy find themselves ahead 2-0 in the 70th minute or something like that. He's going to. I think he's not going to know. Okay, do we try to get another one? Do we shut this down? I think it's going to be unfamiliar territory for him, and so that's why it'll be fun to see that play out. But I think it's going to end up in a tie. What about some of these folks in chat, Ananda?
Yeah, let's pull them up. So let's see. GCam 2-1. I'm assuming that's Galaxy. Tony Toscano 3-2 Galaxy. Yeah, GCam. There you go. XPH, just like you, Rob, 3-3, like you said. Jalapeno 3-1 G's. Big Heck 2-1 LA Galaxy. Again, these are all high scoring games, right? I don't see any 0-0 stalemates in here. The one and only Rocio Galaxy wins 3-1. Let's see what else we got, guys. Yeah, Tony Toscano wouldn't surprise with the 3-3 draw, but a 3-2 win Galaxy would be awesome. Tony, that's what I call your head pick and your heart pick, and I love it. There you go.
Oh yeah, if it was my heart pick, then it would be something like the wingers go off and the Galaxy finally get like that one true convincing win, just like that wonderful 2-1 last year. But no, I don't think that's where these clubs are right now. Yeah. And so I got to go with my head and say tie.
And to your guys' point, we play on the 4th, the 7th, the 10th, the 13th, the 16th, the 20th, the 26th, and the 30th in this month. We have 8 matches in 26 days. There's a very real chance that if both these clubs are looking at 2-2 or 3-3 in the 75th minute, that maybe there's the one push, the one sub that go run, go chase, and if we can get lucky. But these clubs, look, for us, we have a little bit more to play for, and that it might even the series finally. 9 wins apiece for us. So I think that's maybe in the back of the head of some of the players. I don't ever think it's in the back of the head of Steve Cherundolo.
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't think of that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a big one for us to finally pull even, I think would be a big thing. But, such a long haul in July between our Open Cup match. We don't have to travel far. We go to Houston and Seattle. Out of all of those matches, everything else is in Los Angeles or Pasadena. And so I think that at that point, we're okay travel-wise, but we have so many matches to play in July. It's going to feel a lot like all of last year for us when we were, kind of chasing every single match. But you know what? I think we're all right in that. I think there'll be lots of goals. I don't think anybody, if you bet responsibly, don't bet 0-0 on this match for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, either way, people are going to have fun. There's going to be a lot of goals. Some people are going to go home happy. If it's like, I think it's going to be, everyone's going to go home happy, share the spoils. And then at the end of the night, people are going to get some fireworks. But I think that might wrap us up, guys. But before we get out of here, JR, please go ahead and share with the folks where they can find you, where they can find your podcast. You know what? So some people in the chat, we're really digging you, man. So I'm sure that next time that El Trafico comes around, they're gonna go ahead and tune in to the pod and see what you have to say about the forum.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. We are at Defenders of the Bank, BANC, like it used to be, Bank of California Stadium. My podcast partner, Christian Philemon, Philly, and I, we're 310 episodes into our 7-year podcasting.
Wow.
So we love it. And look, we are, as much as we are just 13 miles down the road, we do give unbiased commentary on our club and on all the other clubs that we play. And we do something before every single match called One More Sleep, which is our game match preview. So that'll be up the night before the Rose Bowl. And we do it for every single team we play. For some of the other obscure clubs, we do a Getting to Know You episode when we played Monterey Bay FC, for example, or some of the others. We like to do a little bit of a Getting to Know You thing. But look, if you want to hear, for some reason, if you guys in the chat want to hear anything about Black and Gold, tune in to us at Defenders of the Bank, and that's Bank with a C.
Yo, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Please tell Philly that we said hello. And of course, I'll be seeing him on both of you guys on Thursday. And yeah, man, we appreciate the analysis. Appreciate you letting us know everything we need to know about LAFC going into this. I'm going to throw out the word historic here, El Trafico, because again, this is the first one where both teams have been tied on points and actually looked like proper soccer clubs going into this match. And as we all know, this game is wild, and it should be as wild this time. Well, chat, thank you so much for being here. Ananda, do you have anything to add before we get out of here?
No, I just want to say thank you, chat, for behaving. Like I said, big up to JR, man, for joining us in enemy territory. And like I said, he's right. Absolutely amazing takes, like really, really good opinions. I think something very rare you might find on the other side, guys. So again, big up to JR, and man, keep up the good work, man. 710 episodes, is that right? That's
310.
310. Okay. But anyways, that's like double. That's like, man, that's. Can you imagine doing this for that? Jeez, Rob, but that's really awesome
triple.
stuff,
that's like triple what we have, man. So
yeah, that's great. Yeah. So keep up the good work, and
it's
really
work,
good
man. Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on, and we appreciate it, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Will do. I'll see you guys.
Thank you, man.
Cool.
Good luck. Lacuna Galaxians, thank you so much once again. Until we meet again, which will be on the Monday following that El Trafico and Minnesota match, we're going to be doing a combo reaction pod for you guys on Monday, July 8th at 9 p.m. Go ahead and check us out then, because we won't be bringing you a show on Thursday, because you know where we'll be. We'll be at the Rose Bowl watching your LA Galaxy take on LAFC in another edition of El Trafico. But until we meet again on Monday, only one thing left to say besides we love you all.
And the force is with our beloved Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. May the force be with the beloved Galaxy, and may the odds be ever in our favor. G.